What's going on, legends? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm bringing you guys a mission guide for the tier 3 of the Black Moss faction here in season 2, and this one does consist of 7 total missions. Out of the first 6, you have to complete 5 of them in order to unlock the final one. Complete that and you will unlock tier 4. But before we dive into it, if you guys do enjoy this content anytime or find this video helpful in any way, make sure you show your support for the channel by going down below and smashing that like button. Let's go ahead and throw an easy goal of 150 likes on today's video, as well as if you guys like to find your way back to the channel for more Call of Duty content, make sure you just do hit that subscribe button alongside that notification bell so we don't miss you in future videos. All right, first up, we have Favor for a Friend. This one's going to take us north of the Satique Cave. You guys are going to be looking for a specific house that does have a farm in the back, and of course I will show you guys multiple times where this location is during each part of this. However, all 3 parts should be done simultaneously, as you will have to extract all of them, and they can all be found in the same area. Now, part 1 is just asking us to find and extract the Friend's Watch. So if you guys go to the location of where the house is, you guys are staring at the front door. To the left is going to be a little water reservoir, and it has a little bit of tin kind of blocking around the bottom. If you guys lay down at the very bottom underneath this, you guys will be able to see the watch. You guys might have to wiggle around a little bit in order to actually pick this up. Pick this part up and part 1 will be complete. Now, part 2 is going to be asking us to find and extract the Friend's Heart necklace. This is going to be found in the backyard. If you guys follow the little wall on the backside that goes across the farm, it eventually turns into a little fence, and then it runs into a rock. In the back left corner of the backyard, essentially, there will be a bush, and inside that bush, you guys will find the heart necklace. Pick this up and part 2 will be complete. Now, part 3 is probably the easiest piece to find. It's going to take you actually inside of the house. You guys will want to, of course, jump on top of the bed, look between the bed and the wall, and you guys will see the photograph. Once you guys get a hold of the photograph, you guys should have your hands on all 3 pieces. In order to actually complete the mission, you will want to exfil safely. So I do recommend going to find a rescue hostage contract if you can find one that is available. If not, choose the safest way possible to exfil safely, and this mission will be complete. Next up, we have the ultimate weapon. This one is only going to be 1 part, but it is a bit challenging. It's asking us to kill 3 operators with enemy operator weapons. Now, in order to get hold of an enemy operator weapon, you're going to need to either come across a dead body of one of the enemy operators on the map, or you're going to have to eliminate somebody and then go through their bag and pick up their weapon, or pick it up off the ground. Either way, you will need to gain access to an enemy operator's weapon. Now, this is obviously significantly easier if you are running in a squad. Either way, once you finally get your hands on an enemy operator's weapon, you will need to eliminate other opponents with it. I definitely recommend going for UAV towers, getting access to a bit of money, maybe buying yourself some actual UAVs. That way you can locate the players that you need to, and it also helps you kind of get an idea of how many players you might be working with, because it could be an easy elimination if it's a duo or a solo, and maybe you guys are running in a squad. But there are multiple ways that you can obviously make this easier, either getting those UAVs, hitting the UAV towers, going for kill squads, anything you can give yourself more intel of where the enemy players might be. You can then choose to challenge them and try to eliminate them with these weapons. Now, there is one thing about this challenge that I noticed that was a little bit tricky, is in my first match, I was able to eliminate another opponent, grab their weapon, and then proceed to eliminate another operator with it, which counted toward my progress. Then I actually exfilled successfully with the enemy operator's weapon, and when I infilled into the next match, the first operator that I eliminated, it actually did not count toward the progress. So I had to take that enemy operator's weapon and then get eliminations again in order to actually get the progress to count. So it looks like you will have to pick up an enemy operator's weapon in the same match that you are getting the eliminations in order for it to register correctly that you have an enemy operator's weapon. Another great thing about this mission is that you guys can eliminate downed players even if you weren't the one to down them, and it should still count towards progress for your elimination. So if you guys see any enemies that are downed, maybe they got downed by AI or any other players, you finish them off, you guys will get the progress, and it'll make this challenge a little bit easier getting those 3 eliminations. Either way, get the 3 eliminations and this mission will be complete. Next up, we have Unarmed and Dangerous. This one's only going to be 2 parts, and it is a little bit challenging. First part's asking us to infill solo without any weapons. So in order to do this successfully, you're going to want to make sure when you are going into infill, you are not selecting any weapons from your contraband or your insured slots, and then you guys will go in with no weapons. As soon as you spawn in and you are fists only with no weapons, this first part will be complete. Part 2 is asking us to exfil in the same deployment without picking up any weapons. Now, this is really going to depend on where you infill on the map, but essentially once you've came in and you are fists only, I would make a beeline to the closest vehicle that you can, unless you are lucky enough to be right next to an exfil. You're going to want to go immediately to the exfil, and you're going to want to try to get out of there. Now, the bonus to this mission is that when you are infilling and you have nothing, you really don't have much to lose. So by going directly to an exfil, even if enemy players choose to come and try to take you out and they eliminate you, the real only sacrifice is some more time by diving into another infill and trying again. But regardless, once you infill with 0 weapons, you go to your nearest exfil and you get the heck out of the map, this mission will be complete. Next up, we have Vintage Connoisseur. This one's going to be a 3-parter. Part 1 is asking us to deliver 6 wine bottles to any dumpster dead drop. Now, you can obviously take this to any of the locations of the dead drops, but I am going to recommend the Zarqwa hydroelectric one. It's across the bridge behind the gas station, as it is going to be fairly close to where I'm going to be recommending you guys are going to be looking for those wine bottles. So you guys are going to head over to Al Mazrah City. There are multiple Yum Yum Burger locations. I'll do my best on the map to show you where these are. You guys are going to want to go inside of these and loot all of the refrigerators, as basically it is a kitchen and a restaurant, so it does have quite a few of these. You guys will more than likely, even between one of them, have enough of the wine bottles that you need, but you might need to visit multiple locations, especially to get the other parts of this mission complete. But basically, go in there, loot as many of these as you can. Hopefully you guys will get access to cheap wine or aged wine, because I think they both count for this first part for the 6 wine bottles. Once you guys get access to 6 of them, then you're going to want to head over to Zarqwa hydroelectric or any of the other dumpster dead drops that are closest to you, drop off the 6 wine bottles, and part 1 will be complete. Now, part 2 is asking us to deliver 2 aged wine bottles to any dumpster dead drop. Now, while you're looking for part 1, you're more than likely going to come across part 2, and the 2 aged wine bottles, I think, even actually count towards part 1. I cannot 100% confirm this, as I kind of did this all in the same run, but I'm pretty sure either way, you guys will come across the aged wine bottles in the exact same locations that you are looking for the wine bottles in part 1. So just go to those Yum Yum Burgers. If you guys need an additional spot, you can go to the hotels that are side by side, and on the first floor of these, they both have a bar and it will give you access to more refrigerators. Other than that, you guys can just go around the map. Every house should have a refrigerator. You guys are going to want to find these wine bottles. Once you get access to the 2 aged wines, you're going to again go over to the Zarqwa hydroelectric dead drop or any other dead drop that is convenient, drop them off, and part 2 will be complete. And then part 3 is just asking us to extract 1 vintage wine bottle. Now, this is actually a little bit more difficult, but if you guys are going to the same places for 1 and 2, you guys will likely have the best odds of finding the vintage wine bottle as well. If you guys need another location, there is the kitchen on the other side of the map over in Seraph Bay as an additional place to look if you guys are having a hard time finding this. But I actually got pretty lucky in multiple runs where I was going to the Yum Yum Burgers and even those hotels, and I was able to find vintage wine bottles in multiple runs. But essentially, once you get access to the vintage wine bottle, even if you haven't completed parts 1 and 2, it might be worth spending the time just exfilling with it as soon as possible. Of course, I'm always going to recommend a rescue hostage contract, as it allows you to sneak off the map, but if one of those isn't available, just choose the safest route possible in order to exfil safely with the vintage wine bottle, and this mission will be complete. Next up, we have substantial findings. This one is going to be a 3-parter. Part 1 is going to be also a part of part 2, and part 1 is also going to be a part of part 3. So you're going to have to go back to part 1 twice, as essentially 2 separate parts for part 1. But part 1 is essentially asking us to take the 2 tracking devices from the town center and Al Shireen Pass dead drops. Now, you can't do these simultaneously. So first, we're going to head over to Al Mazrah, and you're going to need to go to the Al Shireen Pass. Now, I definitely recommend before you go here, you're going to want to get some plates. You're going to want to get a self-revive. You're going to want to set yourself a little bit up for success, as there are some pretty difficult AI in this area, and you tend to run across some tier 3s. So it's not going to be an easy feat getting up to the dead drop, as you are going to have to make your way up the levels on the side closest to Okhdar Village, kind of work your way up the levels all the way up towards the top of Al Shireen Pass, and you guys will get up there. And of course, I will show you guys the location of where this dead drop is. If you guys sneak up on the side, there's basically a ladder that leads right up to it, but of course you guys will encounter enemies along the way. Make your way up the side of Al Shireen Pass up to that dead drop. You guys are going to want to grab this tracking device, and this part will be complete. Now, part 2 is asking us to plant a tracker on top of the submarine in Hafid Port. Now, you guys got a hold of the tracking device over there at Al Shireen Pass. Now, you're going to need to make a beeline over to Hafid Port. And if you guys are familiar with this area at all, you guys have probably been in these big warehouses that they have. They're like the little blue buildings on the map. If you guys are looking at the northern part of Hafid Port, there are 2 main warehouse buildings there. The one on the right is much larger. This is the one that you're going to want to head over to. And when you go inside, you will actually be able to see the submarine sitting in there. Now, it is likely that you will encounter some enemies here. Just clear them out. But you will need to make your way on top of the submarine towards the front, where you guys will see the queue to plant the tracking device. Just plant that tracking device here, and this part will be complete. Now we got to go back to part 1, as again, it's asking us to take tracking devices from multiple locations. This time we're going to be going over to Ashika Island. Now you're going to want to be going over to the town center. This is going to be located between the research center and that gas station over in that area. And of course, I'll show you guys on the map where this is located. You guys will make your way over to this dead drop, and you guys will be grabbing the tracking device for Ashika Island. Now part 3 is asking us to place a tracker on top of the submarine and Ashika Island waterways, and make your way over to one of the main entrances to the waterway. It doesn't really matter which one one you choose. It just depends which one you are closest to, but obviously make sure you are prepared before you go there, and you're going to want to go through and start eliminating the enemies. The idea here is you're going to need to make your way all the way to the submarine, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with, but this is basically in the centralized area of the waterways. So you are going to have to clear out quite a few enemies. You may even run across one or both of the juggernauts. You're going to need to eliminate them. But once you've cleared the area of all the enemies necessary, you guys will want to jump on top of the submarine over here, again towards the front, just like you did in the Half at Port one. You guys will place the tracker there, and this mission will be complete. Next up, we have Paperweights. This one's going to be a 3-parter, and similar to Favor for a Friend, it's one of those where all 3 parts are in the same location, so it makes sense to do them all simultaneously. Now, this location is going to take us to just south of the Satik Caves, but north of the Said City, and you guys are probably familiar with the pipeline that goes across there. There is a box that's hanging by a parachute. This is the general area in which you guys want to be in, and of course I'll show you the locations of each of the places, so you guys should be able to find the general area pretty easy. But part 1's asking us to find and extract Shadow Company deal documents. If you guys are where that box is hanging from the parachute, you're going to want to go a little bit northeast on the hill. You guys will see different crash sites in each of these locations. There's a little crash site there with some boxes. You'll climb up on the box, and you guys will see the documents there. You guys will pick up these documents, and you'll move over to part 2. Now part 2 is asking us to find and extract the Shadow Company's hard drive. This one is a little less difficult to locate, as you guys are basically just going to have to climb up on the pipeline and drop down on that box that is held by the parachute. You guys will jump down onto that box from the top. You guys will then see that hard drive there. You guys will pick up this hard drive and move over to part 3. Now, part 3 is going to be just north of part 2, and it is going to be another little crash site there. You guys will essentially just move a little bit north. Of course, I will show you guys these locations on the map the best I can. You guys will then climb up on the box similar to part 1, this time grabbing the Shadow Company's letter. Now, the only thing left to do once you have all 3 of these items is to exfil safely, and of course, like always, I'm going to recommend the rescue hostage contracts. It allows you to sneak off the map, but if you guys don't have one of those available, just do whatever you can to exfil safely, and once you do, this mission will be complete. The next up, we have our last and final mission, Medical Diagnosis. This one is going to be 1 part, but it's going to take us to a few areas of the map. It's asking us to extract all 3 medical documents from the Al Mazrah hospitals in 1 deployment. Now, we actually already know what hospital locations this is just based on the description of the mission itself. It's asking us to go to the one in Al Mazrah City, the one near Rohan Oil, and the one in Sawab Village. Now, we're going to go ahead and start with the one that's over near Rohan Oil. And if you guys have any issues finding the locations of these hospitals, of course, I will do my best to show you on the map where these locations are. But I do have a video I will link in the comment down below of where these hospital locations are. But essentially, you're going to go over to near Rohan Oil. You guys have probably been to this location multiple times. It's right by a gas station. You guys will need to go over to this hospital here. Then you guys are going to want to go and make your way to the top floor. You guys may have to eliminate some enemies here. Sometimes there's enemies here, sometimes there isn't. Clear the enemies, go to that top floor, and in the right room, in the right corner on top of the bed, will be the location of the first medical documents. You guys will grab these, and you guys are going to move over to your next location. Now, the next location that I went to was Al Mazrah City. The Al Mazrah City one can sometimes be a stronghold. I don't know if I've seen it as a stronghold in Season 2, but just in case, it has been a stronghold in the past, so you may need a stronghold keycard in order to access it. Just have to look at the map in order to determine that. Of course, I will show you the area of where this one is. It's very close to the downtown post office. You guys are going to make your way over here. You guys are going to need to clear the enemies if you need to, and then obviously go up to the 2nd floor, similar to where you found the first one over at the Rohan Oil area one. But you guys are going to want to look near the multitude of beds there, and then on these shelves, you guys will see the 2nd medical documents. Grab this, and you guys can move over to part 3, which this is going to take us over to Sawab Village, and this is probably the most difficult one to get to, just depending on the match that you're in. Unfortunately, sometimes this one can be a stronghold as well, and sometimes it's even in the radiation. So it's really going to depend on where the location of the radiation is on how difficult it will be to acquire. But you're basically just going to want to set yourself up for success, as this area is a little bit more hostile than the other 2. Make sure you guys have some plates. A self-revive couldn't hurt, especially if you're solo. You're going to want to make your way over to Sawab Village. Now, you guys are going to go ahead and go to the hospital location, which I will, of course, show you guys on the map. Now, this one, you're not going to want to go upstairs at all, which can be very beneficial, especially if it's in the radiation, to know this ahead of time. You guys are going to want to go to the bottom level, and on the box in the same room that has those lockers, you guys will see the 3rd and final medical documents. You guys will then want to grab this 3rd document. You're going to need to exfil safely. Again, just like I recommend in previous missions, the best way to exfil is going for those rescue hostage contracts, as it does allow you to sneak off the map. However you choose to exfil safely, exfil with these 3 documents in the same deployment, and this mission and tier 3 of Black Moss will be complete. Now, that's going to wrap things up for today's mission guide. Thank you guys for all the support in today's video, all the support on the channel, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Peace.